everybody, it's Julia Laird with Senior Susie Stamps, and I'm glad you're here. Today I wanted to show you this cute little card that I've been making this last week, and it's a faux stepper card, and I got the idea from LV Handcrafted, and she called it Adapting a Faux Stepper Card to a Mini Slimline. So I've taken her concept and developed it into a cutting diagram and put the measurements down because I thought it might be a little bit easier, especially for some new stampers. You know, some cards like this can be a little intimidating, but let me tell you, this is a super easy card to make, and you can use scraps, you can use leftover die cuts, you can use stamped images. You can do pretty well whatever you want to do on these cards. So let me show you how the first cut goes, because you need two pieces of 8.5 by 11 cardstock to make 3 cards. And on the first sheet, on the 8.5 inch side, you cut it at 6.5 and then at 3 1/4. And what you end up with is something that looks like this. So you have 2 pieces that are 3 1/4 and 1 2-inch piece. So that leaves you missing a 2-inch piece for this one. So then the second cut is on the same 8.5 inch side. You cut at 6.5 and then again at 4.5 and finally at 3 1/4. Let me show you what that's going to look like. So we're going to cut at 6.5. That's a 2-inch piece. There's the cut that goes to 4.5, and then we're going to cut at 3 1/4. And what that leaves is this nice workable piece of scrap that is 1 1/4 inches wide. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in my scrap bin over here on the desk, because that's a very usable size for die cutting and for sentiments and all kinds of different things. So let me show you the scoring on this, because it's really simple, and once you do the first one, I guarantee you're going to make those other 2. So you might as well just start out by cutting your 2 pieces of paper because I guarantee you're going to make all 3 of them. Now, the way this scoring is done, you score at 3.5, at 5.5, 6.5, 9, and 10. And that's on the 3 1/4 inch piece, and those measurements are right here. Now on this 2 1/4 inch piece, we're going to score it at 6 1/4. And then I'm going to cut this last inch off. And before I cut mine, I put a little small stamp on it, and then I'll add this to my sentiment notebook, and that way I don't have to be stamping on a tiny piece. It's easier for me to square up a bigger size piece of paper than a little small piece. So I'm going to cut this final inch off of here, and I'll be right back. So this is going in my notebook, and I can go ahead and fold and burnish my score lines now. And I start at the 10-inch score and do mountain and then valley, mountain, valley, and mountain. So you end up with something that looks like this on the 3 1/4 inch piece, and this is the 2-inch piece. Okay? Now on mine, I like to give myself a little reminder note, and I put an X on the back of here because I want to glue this piece down before I put the cover piece on there. But I'm going to go ahead and get them all cut and ready to put on this card. This sheet will be over on the Facebook page, but you can take a picture of it now if you want to while I go pull stuff for those layers. We're going to use a bunch of scraps today, and it's out of an old pack of paper from Paper Wishes called Emma's Garden, and I thought it might be kind of pretty to use some die cuts and to use up some of this paper on a little card, maybe a little thinking of you card, I'm thinking. So what I'll need is a piece that's 3 inches wide. And so there's one. These are all at least 3. So we could use some of that. This is exactly 3, so that's a good one to use and use up. And this one is 3. So that gives us plenty of paper to choose from. Here's another piece that looks like it might be more usable. So we may not even need any of that. And just in going through, I've pulled this heart, and it is divided. It's a die cut within a die cut, so I may use a smaller heart, I may not. Here's some nice trim that might be pretty on this style card. And I've got some cut apart sentiments here. Best wishes, beautiful day might be nice. You make life special, happy thoughts your way. That's probably the one I'm going to pull and use if it fits in the end. So I'll set this aside and we'll make that decision in just a minute. I also have some dazzles here that are in brown. That's one of the sentiments is hello friend, and that might be a good one to put on that card as well. So now let's just see. There are 3 pieces cut at 3/4 of an inch by 3, and I kind of like to cut those out of the same paper. Now, you can make this card entirely out of the same paper if you want to, but I think for today, I'm going to cut this first at 2 1/4, and then I'm going to cut 3 pieces that are 3/4 inch out of this little piece of paper scrap here. And that uses up half of that piece. And this green, I believe I'm going to try to see if I have enough of to do the rest of the front. And that would be a piece at 2 1/4 and a piece at 1 3/4. So 2 1/4 and 1 3/4. And then I'm going to need a piece for the back. And I think I'll go back to this piece, and I'll need a 2 1/2 by 1 3/4 inch and a piece that's 3 by 3 1/4. So I believe this is going to be enough to do the 3 1/4 for the back. And then this little piece will do the little spot behind this piece, and that is 1 3/4 by 2 1/2. Let's see if that's about right. Wow. Almost looks like I planned that. Okay, so this is for the back. Now, let's get those put on. And this card goes together pretty quick. I don't believe we're going to need any of this piece of paper here. I'm going to use my ATG gun today and put this together. You can embellish these just as much as you want to. And these little steps are both going to use all 3 of these pieces that are 3/4 of an inch by 3. One nice thing about these particular cards is you can use the bridge piece, and this is what I'm calling the bridge piece, either on the right side, left side, or put it in the center. And you can adjust the width on that if you want to. I just found that 2 inches worked pretty well for me in my application. This is going on the back. These are the pieces for the rest of the front that are going to go on here. I'm going to go ahead and put those down. And ooh, I might kind of like that side better. Aren't those flowers pretty? I think we'll use those and then put the green on the back. Let's try this and see. This has always been just a really pretty little pack of paper. And And I've had an idea that I wanted to run by you all and see what you think about it. I've got too much paper in the studio, and I'm thinking about cutting some of it down to 6 by 4 inch pieces, and then sending it out in a little folio to people that might want to have some of this paper, but you can kind of let me know in the comments. I appreciate it. Now, on this piece, I forgot the long piece, so let's use this one, and it is the bridge piece, and it's 6 by 1 3/4. So let me cut that, and let's see which side we want. Do we want that side or this side? I think maybe the brown. So I'm going to cut it 1 3/4. Actually, I think I'll cut it at 6 first. That gives me the most usable scrap. And then 1 3/4. I'll put these back with my little stash over here and use them another day. Here we go. I got the squeaky ATG gun today. One of them squeaks and one of them doesn't. And I got the squeaker today. I'm sorry. Hang on, I'll change it. There we go. Now, on this, I like to use glue to hold it because I think it holds it just a little bit better. And I just put a little glue on the bottom end of this piece. And I think on this one, I'm going to put it right up in the middle. So I'm going to use my grid mat to help me with that and kind of line it up where the grid marks will help me to put it right directly in the center here. And it's going to be between these two little dashed lines here. And then I'm going to run it right up that way and get it as straight as I can. And right down there flush with that bottom piece. There we go. And then this is going to fold back and be glued right there. Before I do that, I forgot to burnish these, and let me go ahead and do that right quick because they need to be done at some point. It helps to make the folds a little crisper when it's standing up for you. There we go. Now we can go ahead and glue this bridge down. I'm going to turn it over on the back, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put about 3 inches, 3/4 of an inch of glue on there, and then I'm just going to fold this directly back over the top, and that way when it goes in the envelope it'll fold nice and flat that way. You see? Now I'm ready to put these pieces down, and you can put a stamped image on the back. You can put an additional little white piece on the back, and I've got the measurements for that as well. Hang on just a second because I think we might do that on this card. And it gives you just a little extra little writing surface. And then I'm going to put this little piece up on the bridge on the back. And that's all the layers that I'm going to put down for this card. And this is what it looks like so far. Brown and green. And then I'm going to put this nice little heart on here at kind of an angle, if it will fit. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. I'm going to have to push this on out because the heart is a little bit too big for this mini slimline to go in the envelope. So I thought maybe that might happen. So then we're going to put this little heart on here. I'm wondering about using some of this little die cut here. I might do that, kind of cut this a little bit and just see what it looks like there. This really kind of needs a little green underneath of it. Let me cut another little layer here of green if I have one. And I've got one right there. So this was 1 3/4. I'm going to cut this one at 1.5 inches by 5 3/4. And that is not going to be on the list over here because I typically don't put that layer on, but I think this needs a little green back behind it. So let's just do it. There we go. By 5 3/4, and that is a 1/4 inch layer then off of that brown piece. And one more scrap used. Yay! Ooh, I was going to change that out, wasn't I? One thing about these cards, because of all the folds there are, they're going to be a little thick to begin with. So you don't want to probably use a whole great big lot of foam, but I do go ahead and put a little foam up underneath this piece sometimes, and I think it works out pretty well. I'm not convinced that that's the right thing to put there. Let's just wait and see what else we got in our magic pile over here of stuff to use. Let's do this sending happy thoughts your way and see what it looks like. And I think I'm going to go ahead and make another little banner just as a friend to this one, so that it'll be kind of a double little banner here. It's the same size as this cut apart is. To back it a little bit, that's all I want to do. There, so it has kind of a little double like that. I kind of like that, don't you? Let me know what you think. And that way I can kind of adjust it to stay inside my boundary, and it all kind of pulls together that way. Okay, let's get this put down. I'm going to put some glue on this and let it run flat in there, and I'm going to be aware of my edges here because it does extend past the edges of this bridge. Here we go. And then we've got these ready to go down. And I believe on this one I'm going to put just a little bit of black ink on that edge because I don't like that little white bit showing. It doesn't show up so much on the pink, but it does on this little piece here. So let me get that taken care of. And I'm thinking a little bow might be kind of nice on this card. I'm just going to put a little glue here and kind of put these two together like that. And then we'll put them up kind of at an angle. And I like it this way better. Probably because I'm right-handed. And I'm just going to glue that down flat. And we'll set it up in here on top of that heart. And watch my tails and make sure they stay inside the perimeter of that card face there. There we go. So see what a sweet little card that has turned out to be. Now, let me see. I think we need a little bit more embellishments. And like I said, maybe a little heart, a little die-cut heart. Let me see what I've got here. There might be something that we can still use out of these leftover die cuts. Well, now here's a little flower. That might work. There's two of them. And here's one, a little pink one. That might be pretty. And see, this helps you kind of use up some of this stuff that lingers around. Here's another little heart. That might be nice on the back side. Let's see what else we've got here. There's a bunch of little stuff up in here still. Here's a different little heart. And some more flowers in pink. Let's see what these little pink flowers do here. Yeah. Okay. Let me get this stuff out of the road here, and I'll be right back. There, and that might be just fine, and then I'll put a little gem up in the middle of these little guys. I'm going to glue the two little circles down flat and put just a little bit of foam up underneath that flower that's right there to give it just a little bit of dimension. I'm offsetting these two little circles here, and maybe we'll use those green ones on the back. I'm not sure till we get to the back. Hang on. Okay, now this one is the one that I want to put up on just a little piece of foam. I've got some Stampin' Up! Dimensionals that I found in the studio that have been around forever and a day. So I thought I'd try to get those used up. And then maybe this can come right up in here and tie those two elements together a little bit. And that's a pretty little card. Now, on the back, what I want to do is to go back to my directions and cut a sentiment scrap. And it's optional because you can write on the inside, but I'm going to cut a little white piece. I've got some scraps over here that I think will work just fine. And that is 3 by 2 3/4. And I just pull my little mess of stuff out here and find the smallest white piece that I think will work, and that might work just perfect. Yay! So let's get it measured up and cut. And there's another scrap used. I'm going to go ahead and put this down with the squeaky wheel. I need to put a do not use on this wheel, don't I? I'll see if John can spray that with something good this week, and that way we won't have that problem again. There, now I've got these two little hearts that kind of bring the heart from the front to the back. There we go. And maybe a couple of little flowers here and there. Maybe kind of like that. Yeah, kind of like that. So let's just do it that way, and we'll get these little scrippy scraps used up and have a nice card. I've also got another little spot on the inside for a little tiny piece, and I've got one over here from where we cut that green for the front. So hang on, bear with me now. I've got some additional cards I want to show you. I got kind of hooked on these this week. I really enjoyed this format, and I hope you do too, and that you'll try them in your studio, because they really do help you use up those little itsy bitsy here and there pieces of scrap and leftover die cuts that you have hanging around. So now I've got this little piece right here, and I'm going to put that back here on the back side, and that leaves you an additional little spot that you can write something if you want to. And I'm just going to run it all the way across and trim the edges off. Right like that. And if I had another little piece of die cut, something, I would put that in there. So let me look. And I think one of these little guys right here will do the trick. Maybe both of them. What do you think? Now, as I said, these cards are fairly dimensional just because of the way they're folded up. But I do think it might kind of be pretty to put a little bit of bling on this, these little tiny flowers here. Let's put some of these little pink flower centers in there. I think they'll be cute. Get my little picker tool here. These are pretty flat little gems. They don't stick up hardly at all. Done, done, and done. Maybe put another couple of them up here. There we go. Oh, I think that's going to be pretty. There we go. Let me know what you think. Now, let me show you the rest of these cards. I'll get my stuff cleared out of here right quick. Now, this one was just some designer paper with some cut-aparts, and the sentiment was already in the pack, so all I did was to add some additional little cut-aparts, and you'll notice now that this bridge is shoved all the way over to that right side, and this is what the back looks like. And here's one that I used some stickers that I got from the Dollar Tree and some pre-made sentiment strips. I think I got those from scrapbook.com. And some kind of funky paper that there's a little strip that goes down the back, and it's just a sweet little card to send. This one would be great for a kid. You are out of this world, and look at these adorable stickers. I got those from Dollar Tree. I don't know when. And I just found this fun little universe paper here, and this is one where I did all the layers the same. And then here's the back, let your dreams take flight. And there's a little strip on the inside there as well. Now on this piece, because I wanted to use up that piece of paper, I went ahead and made my envelope. And then I had another little extra piece for just a straight A2 size card. And that finished up that one piece of paper very nicely. Now these are A2 size, and I have the measurements for those. We don't have time today to go through those, but they'll be over on the Facebook page, and I will go ahead and post a picture of this at the end so you can take a snap of it if you want to. But here's just an extra Easter card. I was running a little bit short, and Somebody Loves You. And here again we've used some stickers, a die cut, easy to put together. Now this one was stickers that I got from the Dollar Tree. These sweet little flowers came in some Happy Mail, and I used 2 different papers on the front and carried them through into the back. And then there's a nice little place to write on the inside there. So you can see that this card layout is really versatile, and I think if you try it you'll really enjoy the use that you get out of these little scraps of paper that you might have lingering around. So I hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye bye, y'all.